Hello again, and welcome back to In Focus with Ken Clough Photography, the podcast where we dive into the stories behind the lens and explore the art, heart, and hustle of capturing life's most meaningful moments. I'm Ken Clough, and in today's episode, I'm reflecting on the first 2 months of the 2025 wedding season. From historic barns to fields of wildflowers to intimate ceremonies filled with barbecue, cupcakes, and laughter, this season has kicked off with a rustic, heartfelt bang. I've had the privilege of photographing 4 incredible weddings in May and June, and I've noticed some common, beautiful threads. Trends that say a lot about what couples are looking for in 2025. So whether you're planning your own wedding, working in the industry, or just love a good story told through the eyes of a photographer, stay with me. We're about to unpack the candid, cozy, and joy-filled start to this year's wedding season. There's something special about the beginning of a wedding season. It's like the first few chapters of a book you know you'll enjoy reading all summer long. May and June of 2025 have set the tone for what I anticipate to be a beautiful, joyful, and creatively fulfilling wedding season. Over the past 2 months, I've had the honor of photographing 4 unique weddings. And while each celebration had its own flavor and style, there have been some delightful through lines that connect them all. As I look back on these early season weddings, I've noticed 7 major themes: rustic venues, down-home food, stunning natural backdrops, intimate guest lists, candid group moments, a spirit of fun, and most importantly, a sense of authenticity. These themes not only reflect what couples are choosing today, but they also point towards some of the larger wedding trends shaping 2025. In this post, I'm excited to share what I've experienced through my lens so far this season. If you're a future bride or groom, a curious guest, or just someone who loves photography and weddings, I invite you to journey with me through these rustic love stories and the insights they've inspired. Trend number 1. Rustic charm, a theme that's still going strong. Every one of the 4 weddings I photographed in May and June had one thing in common: a rustic venue. Whether it was a converted barn, a historic estate, or a wildflower-covered field nestled in the hills, each setting brought with it a sense of groundedness and warmth. Rustic weddings are by no means a new trend, but they are evolving. In 2025, couples are blending the rustic with the refined. Think antique wooden beams adorned with fairy lights, vintage dishware paired with craft cocktails, and weathered barns with chandeliers hanging from hand-hewn rafters. The juxtaposition of old and new creates something utterly charming, a celebration that feels timeless yet personal. One of my favorite venues from this spring was a historic horse barn that had been lovingly restored. The ceremony was held under an open arbor with rolling hills in the background. The barn itself glowed in golden hour light, and I was able to capture the couple in a candid embrace, just as the sun dropped behind the tree line. The texture of the old wood, the softness of the light, and the joy in their faces, those are the moments I live for as a photographer. The rustic theme also gave guests permission to relax. No stuffy ballrooms or strict dress codes here. People wore linen, boots, suspenders, and sun hats. The vibe was casual elegance, an aesthetic that invites people to be themselves. Trend number 2. Comfort food with heart. Barbecue and cupcakes take the lead. If the settings are warm and earthy, the food was even more so. At almost every wedding I photographed this spring, barbecue and cupcakes were the culinary stars of the show. And you know what? It absolutely worked. There's something undeniably comforting about good barbecue. It smells like summer and tastes like celebration. Pulled pork, grilled corn, baked mac and cheese. These aren't just crowd pleasers, they're memory makers. I noticed guests bonding over ribs, toasting with local brews, and going back for seconds with zero hesitation. As a photographer, I love capturing these food moments. There's a special kind of happiness that comes from watching a flower girl sneak a bite of cornbread or seeing a grandparent smile as they enjoy a meal surrounded by loved ones. And then there are the cupcakes. Forget the towering 5-tiered wedding cake. 2025 couples are leaning into variety, personalization, and fun. I saw displays with a dozen different flavors: red velvet, lemon poppy seed, salted caramel, and even s'mores. This homey approach to wedding cuisine fits perfectly with the rustic aesthetic. It's welcoming, joyful, and real, just like the weddings themselves. Trend number 3, picture-perfect natural settings. One of the biggest joys of shooting rustic weddings is the natural light and scenery. Fields, forests, gardens, and sunsets. Nature offers the best backdrops, and May and June did not disappoint. At each of these early season weddings, I found myself stepping away from the crowd to scout the perfect natural spot for portraits and group shots. Sometimes it was an open meadow with tall grass swaying in the breeze. Other times it was a weathered barn, an old tree, or a flower-dappled hill. What I found this season is that couples want their wedding photos to feel like an extension of the environment that they're in. They want to be seen in their element, walking barefoot in the grass, laughing with friends under a string of lights, or dancing on a wooden deck under the stars. One wedding took place near a lake, and the bride and groom chose to have a few quiet moments together at the water's edge. It was peaceful, tender, and loving. These rustic natural venues open up endless possibilities for storytelling through photography. The texture, the openness, the organic shapes, all of it enhances the emotional resonance of the images. Trend number 5, smaller weddings, bigger love. Another consistent thread this spring, intimate guest lists. Most of the weddings I photographed were on the smaller side, usually less than about 80 guests. The smaller scale didn't make the events feel any less meaningful. In fact, it made everything feel more personal. With fewer people, the couple had more time to connect deeply with each guest. There was less pressure, fewer logistics, and a lot more freedom to be present in the moment. These smaller weddings also made it easier to photograph authentic interactions. Grandparents hugging the bride, cousins playing games on the lawn, or the groom laughing with childhood friends. What struck me the most was how the size of the wedding influenced the style of photography. Instead of spending hours on traditional posed portraits, we spent more time on candid shots, group hugs, shared meals, and spontaneous dance-offs. The photos feel alive and genuine, exactly what I believe wedding photography should be. Trend number 6, from pose to organic, capturing real moments. I love a beautifully composed portrait just as much as anyone, but this season has reminded me just how powerful organic photography can be. When people feel comfortable, when they aren't focused on the camera, that's when the magic happens. At one wedding, the bride's nieces and nephews were running around playing tag in the tall grass. I snapped a photo of the bride mid-laugh as she scooped one of them up in her arms. It wasn't planned or staged. It was pure joy. That's a photo the family will treasure forever. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Another favorite moment came during a toast. The best man, who had clearly known the groom since childhood, delivered a hilarious, heartfelt speech. As the groom wiped away tears of laughter, I caught the bride looking at him with this expression of pure adoration. It was subtle, quiet, and deeply meaningful, and I was lucky enough to catch it through the lens. These are the moments that matter, and they're often the ones you don't plan for. Trend number 7, wedding experiences in 2025, what I'm seeing. These spring weddings also gave me some insight into the broader trends shaping 2025. Here's what I'm seeing so far. Rustic with refinement. As I mentioned earlier, couples are blending rustic charm with refined touches. Mismatched vintage china, velvet table runners, artisan cocktails, All of it creates a layered, curated feel. Intimate celebrations. Smaller guest lists continue to be a trend, partly due to budget consciousness, and partly because couples want to create a more connected, less chaotic experience. Sustainability. I saw more eco-friendly choices this spring. Biodegradable plates, locally sourced flowers, reusable decor, and even thrifted wedding dresses. Interactive food. From barbecue to cupcake decorating stations, food is becoming an experience, not just a meal. Less formal attire. More grooms in suspenders and no jackets. More brides in flowing dresses with boots instead of heels. Couples are leaning into comfort and self-expression. Candid photography over posing. Couples want their photos to tell a story, not just look good. That means more movement, emotion, and spontaneity. These trends align beautifully with my own approach to photography. I aim to capture weddings in a way that feels true to the couple, natural, fun, and emotionally resonant. Trend number 8, the spirit of fun, laughter, games, and dancing in the grass. If I had to sum up these first 4 weddings with a single word, it would be fun. From the bridal party playing lawn games before the ceremony, to the groomsmen pulling goofy poses during portraits, there was an air of lightheartedness and celebration throughout every wedding. I think couples in 2025 are truly leaning into the idea that weddings should be joyful, not stressful. At one wedding, the couple handed out bubbles for the reception. As a photographer, this spirit of fun makes my job not only easier, but more fulfilling. People smile more, they connect more, they live in the moment. And that's what photography is really all about, capturing life as it's happening. Looking ahead, summer weddings on the horizon. As we head into the heart of the 2025 wedding season, I'm more inspired than ever. These first 4 weddings have reminded me why I do what I do. Every couple has a story worth telling, and every wedding is a canvas for capturing that story in a unique and meaningful way. I can't wait to see what July and August will bring. More golden sunsets, more surprise dance moves, more quiet glances and loud laughter, and more love. If the rest of the season is anything like May and June, I'm in for a treat, and so are my couples. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Whether you're planning your wedding, looking for inspiration, or just love seeing love, I hope this glimpse into the 2025 season so far has warmed your heart. This has been Ken Clough from Ken Clough Photography. Until next time, keep your wedding focused on friends and fun.